Multiple updated saga. That's what I have for you today. Am I the a-hole for refusing to go to my father's funeral? Before you answer yes or no, let me tell you a little bit of context. I know this sounds really bad, however, strap in because this is a long story. I'm 34 male, grew up with an on-off relationship with my bio dad. To put it bluntly, he's an awful human being and a disgrace as a father. In my 34 years on this planet, I've had a more negative experience with him than positive, which is not hard as the positive ones equal a big fat zero. He left my mom when I was 2 years old and she was pregnant with my brother. I have no memories of him from before he left, so it was not too traumatic for me. But it broke my mom for a long time. The worst part was when she found out that he'd been having an affair their whole marriage, and the other woman was also pregnant. I think this gives you an idea of the type of person we're dealing with here. Anyways, she tried to be the bigger person and let them have a contact with me and my brother, but when I was 5, my dear father signed away his parental responsibility to me so that he could stop paying child support for us. He was fairly well off, so money was not an issue for him. When my mom asked him why, he told her he had a new family now and did not need us. So that was that. Well, until I was 14, when I found a photo of him holding me and I asked my mom about it. To be fair, she was never nasty about him. She was a better person than I would have ever been. She contacted my dad's mom, and through her, I talked to my dad for the first time in nearly 10 years. For a couple years, we had no contact. I met my half-siblings and we played happy family. It was all fake. His second wife and my half-siblings hated me from the moment they met me. There were also a lot of vile comments along the lines of, "Why are you here? He has us and doesn't even need you." And, of course, "There must be something seriously wrong with you. He threw you away like trash." So, you get the idea of how much fun these meetings were. There were many times when I wondered if I'd made a big mistake trying to get back in contact with him, but my mom seemed happy that my brother and I had a relationship with our dad, so I persevered. There were so many red flags over the years that he was only doing what he thought made him look good to other people, but I was too young and stupid to realize. It is only now as a grown man that I see how dreadful things truly were. A couple of examples for context would be the time he took us to a theme park, and my step-siblings were given the fast passes, while my brother and I had to queue with everyone else. They got lunch brought for them and we did not. We were told we should have brought sandwiches with us. Or the time we went on a family holiday to Spain. His new family went all-inclusive. Me and my brother had to take the all the money you need to feed yourselves route. My mom put money aside for months for that. I know she would be grateful for that he paid for us to go, but we were not allowed to go to the dining room with them, and we had to pay for all the drinks whilst watching his other kids fill up on free drinks and ice cream. Well, these are just 2 examples. Looking back, he treated us as charity cases. Finally, I went off to university and contact dwindled to just birthdays and Christmas, although I did not even get a card or present from him. Fast forward to my mid-20s, and I met the love of my life. We were going to get married. I dutifully invited my dad and his family to the wedding, but they were not involved in the wedding party. They went down like a brick, but he refused to come if we did not ask my step-siblings to be in the wedding party. I was older and stronger by then, so I just told him not to come if he was going to be petty about it. Well, he did not come. But it was no loss. After the wedding, I saw him once in the next 10 years, at my grandmother's 80th birthday. So that brings us to the present, and, well, my dad's dead. He had a heart attack, brought on by years of drinking and womanizing. When I was told, I felt nothing. I'm not kidding, guys. I felt not a thing. It was as if a stranger had died to me, and I was wondering why they broke me the news. I spoke to his mom and told her that I would not be coming to the funeral. She understood, but an hour later I received a phone call from my aunt, which is his sister, screaming at me for being disrespectful. That's the only word I can type. The rest would get this post banned. It ended with her yelling, and I quote, "The best thing he ever did was disown you and your brother." I'm not sure how she thought that would change my mind, but there you go anyways. I am not going to his funeral. I'll not put myself and my children through that toxic environment. Am I the a-hole for refusing to go to my dad's funeral? Here's a little extra one day later. I didn't post this on the first part when I finished, as I was in two minds about putting my drama online. But guys, everything has changed. Things have really hit the fan. It turns out he never changed his will from when he was married to my mom. And well, he's left me and my brother a decent amount of money. I'm in shock about the whole thing, and I'm not sure how to feel about it. His wife has asked for me and my brother to meet up with her to discuss this misunderstanding in the will. I'll let everyone know how that goes. I still would like to know, though, am I the a-hole for refusing to go to the funeral, as I'm still not planning to go? Alright guys, Mr. Reddito here. I just want to tell you, this story is so intense. I have multiple updates, basically an entire saga. Guys, if you think that was heated up, you have to see the next update. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new here, because we do stories every single day. Let's see what's going on with this crazy funeral update. The meeting went about as well you could expect, but it's put me in a new perspective on a few things. I was not expecting to turn up for coffee and be met by the wife and step-siblings with a lawyer. To stop things being confusing from this point, I'll refer to evil stepmother, step-siblings 1 and 2, and there's 4 of them by the way, brother, which is my brother, lawyer, me, obviously. So we arrived after them, and they were already set up at a table, and it felt as though they were walking into an interview or court hearing instead of a nice little coffee shop. Our one demand was that we met in public, as we thought, stupidly, that it would mean they could behave. Our butts had barely even hit the seats when evil stepmother started. We had our lawyer draft up a document for you and your brother to sign." Excuse me? Evil stepmother said it again, just slower and louder. She's one of those people who goes abroad and thinks that in a non-English speaking country, all she must do is speak slower and louder to make people suddenly realize they do speak English. "Yeah, I heard that. I just don't know what you're expecting us to sign." I ordered the coffee for my brother and myself whilst her lawyer shuffled some papers. I should point out here, the lawyer's a friend of my dad, and he insisted multiple times over the conversation he was here as a friend to the family, not as an official lawyer. Well, he said this. Here you are. It's a simple document just stating you giving your rights to the estate of Mr. Crappy Dad, as he was not really your father." Excuse me? At this point, I'm sure that evil stepmother and lawyer thought I was hard of hearing or not very bright. Stepsister 1 now joins in. "Well, it's not like Dad likes you, is it? He would want us to receive the money." Well, I've not even seen the will yet, guys. I don't even know what you're asking me to give up, and besides, brother and I are as much his children as you are. "Well, not really. He gave up his rights to you, remember? And that means you have no right to inherit from his estate." I'm not sure if it works like that. I'm not signing anything until I see his will. Brother did not say much during the meeting. He has inherited our dad's short temper, so I made him promise just to sit quietly. He's not violent, he's just a no filter at all and tends to say exactly what he's thinking. This is where things went to hell. Evil stepmother lost her temper and literally stomped her feet under the table like a toddler, before yelling, "You're not seeing the will, just sign the damn paper, you unwanted piece of garbage." At the risk of being repetitive, I said, "Excuse me?" Well, this pushed them over the edge and all 5 of them started yelling at us. Even though our lawyer friend of the family looked a bit shocked at their behavior. I looked at him, ignoring the temper tantrums going on around us, and I said, "Until I see the will, bro, I'm not signing anything. We need to take our own legal advice on this. I'm done." He nodded, looking shell-shocked, and started putting the papers away. Entitled mother was screeching so bad at this point that she sounded someone had just stomped on the tail of a mouse. Realizing we were not going to get anywhere, I motioned at brother to get up. I gave the lawyer my number and email so we could arrange to see the will and got up to leave. As we were walking towards the door, I suffered the most English assault of all time. Yeah, stepsister 2 threw a used tea bag at the back of my head. It was a damn good throw, I've got to give her credit. And I'm only glad she did not throw the entire metal teapot at me. Anyways, we should be getting a view of the will in the next few days, so for anyone still interested in my train wreck of a family, I'll update when we receive it. Update number 2, a week later. Hey guys, things are no better, but I have a clear idea of what's happening. The will leaves a decent amount of money to me and my brother, not enough that we can retire and never worry again, but enough to allow us to worry less. I have no idea why my dad did not change his will. At the point he wrote this one, he's left us a lump sum and the rest to be divided between his mom and evil stepmother. I don't understand why evil stepmother's so annoyed, as there's still a lot of money and property left for them. The funeral's not happened yet, it's in a week, and I'm now leaning towards going to the funeral because it'll annoy the hell out of evil stepmother and her spawns. My brother says it'll be petty to go, but what can I say, I'm a petty bloke. If entitled stepmother had played nice, I would probably have left her to it, but she really has got my back up. Since our meeting and the assault by the teabag, evil stepmother and stepsisters 1 through 4 have started an online hate campaign, which makes me feel like I'm back in high school. They're referring to me and my brother as parasites who only care now there's money involved, as we were never there when our dad was alive. I may have made things worse by pointing out that they were the ones obsessed with money, so maybe it takes a parasite to know one. I guess this leads to another am I the a-hole question. Am I the a-hole for loving every minute of this and giving as good as I get when it comes to the online stuff? My wife thinks I'm poking at a bear, but I'm fed up with their entitlement. I thought they would block me on social media, but so far I can still see everything. I think they're so sure that they're right, they don't even feel the need to block me. I'm not sure if they have an account here, but to be honest, I don't care if they see this or not. The funeral's going to be a large affair. Full Catholic church service, wakes, and lots of drinking afterwards. And I'll be there at the front sitting with my brother. My mom, well, she's not coming, and my wife has said she does not feel that she'll be comfortable. I'm okay with that because I have a plan, and I don't want them caught up in it anyways. I messaged evil stepmother earlier today and said I wanted to make peace with them. We are all upset at the death in the family, and so we should not be fighting about something as stupid as money at a time like this. I also asked if I could do a reading at the service to put everything to rest once and for all. I wrote a lovely part about wanting to have a chance to say goodbye that I never had. I agreed that after the funeral, I would make my decision about the will. It's already been made, I'm keeping the money, and we can all move on. I'm currently waiting for a reply and drafting a eulogy for my father dearest. I have to be honest, it's going to be difficult to draft something respectful, as respect is something that I have towards the man who created me. I've been surprised that evil stepmother has not asked for a DNA test yet, but I have a feeling that might be coming. It would be a waste of time and money as I look so much like my father, but I have to be a son. Update number 3, the funeral. Hey guys, I was going to update earlier, but the time has disappeared with solicitor visits to ensure that our position is covered. Our solicitor said that evil stepmother would have to have a strong reason to contest the will, and I don't think she has one. No matter his faults, he had so many. My dad was of sound mind, and so they cannot dispute that he knew what he was doing. His sound mind may have been hateful and bigoted, but he was not weak-minded. Evil stepmother messaged me back after I approached her and said I would be welcome to giving a eulogy, so long as she could approve it first. For some reason, she doesn't trust me. Go figure. She also said that she would want a written promise that my brother and I would give up the rights to the money, as we are not really family if we did. She would not have to ask for DNA tests or anything. I've agreed to her terms and sent her a copy of the eulogy to read. I did not send her the written agreement and told her we would discuss that after the funeral, as we were all in mourning, and it's too dramatic to think about money in the week up to my dad's funeral. She kept waiting for me to send back the eulogy, and when it finally arrived, she'd edit it in a red pen, taking out any part she thought would sound bad. I'd been very generous with my words, and I thought it was a good generic eulogy, but I did not want to rock the boat. I hoped we could get through the day and everything would just be settled. And if you believed any of that, you're as gullible as Entitled stepmother, apparently. The eulogy I sent her was nothing like the one I planned to read that day. After everything that's happened from the time he left until the tea bag to the back of the head, there was not a snowflake's chance in hell that I was going to give him a lovely send-off. My brother had only seen the draft eulogy that I sent to Entitled stepmother, and so he had no idea what I was planning. I thought he would have been fine with it, but I wanted him to look as shocked as everyone else, so that the blame rested solely on me. In 2 hours, I'll be giving my old man the scent he deserves. If anyone's still interested, I'll update later with the eulogy and how it went down. Wish me luck. Update number 4. The aftermath. Was what I did petty? Absolutely. Did it feel good? Yeah, frickin' bet it did. The funeral started off as every funeral does. He was brought into the church as My Way played in the background, which struck me as funny as I was about to get revenge my way. We sat through the priest going on about what a good family man he was, a good Christian, and sang a couple of generic hymns, and then finally it was my time to shine. I walked to the front, the picture of the grieving son, and carefully unfolded my speech paper. I looked over at evil stepmother and all my entitled little step-brats, took a deep breath, and began. I'm here to say goodbye to my father, whose main contribution to my life was to show me how not to be a father. I could see from the corner of my eyes that evil stepmother was looking down at the draft speech on her lap and desperately whispering to Sister One. I smiled at her and continued. This man deserted his first wife, my mother, because he wanted to play the field. As a result, my brother and I never knew the man. I'm only here because of how evil stepmother over there has treated me and my brother following his death. It seems that not only was he a useless father, but he was also useless at keeping his records up to date. As a result, my brother and I are beneficiaries of his estate. Yeah, I'm as surprised as you probably are. In fact, I'm sure that half of you did not even know my brother and I existed. Until today. Well, here I am in the flesh and blood, and I did not want to be here. I honestly don't care he's gone. I have no feelings about it. However, Entitled stepmother and her children have abused my brother and I constantly since that man died, and this was the only way I felt I could end this. I read out some of the best Facebook posts at this point. It was glorious, and I'm not even going to ask, am I the a-hole, because I'm fully aware at this point, oh, I am. I aired my grievances at a man's funeral, and it was an a-hole move. We left after I finished, as we could feel the hate in the room. Heck, you could cut it with a thin knife. And I didn't want things to get physical. I did not expect my brother to be as angry as he was about the whole thing, but he said he did not appreciate being kept in the dark. Once the dust settles, I'll finally realize everything with our solicitor and use the money, some of the money, for a holiday with my brother and his family to say sorry. I've blocked this evil stepmother and her spawn children on all social media, as I can't be bothered reading all the fallout that's going to come. In the end, it turned out I was actually not a great person. But years of pent-up abandonment issues finally were aired, and no matter how much of an a-hole I am, it felt like a huge weight's been lifted. Thank you for joining me on this roller coaster. It's been like therapy for me, and although I do feel slightly guilty, it'll pass. I can't even begin to tell you how happy I was when OP no doubtedly won this battle. Not the fact that the father abandoned him and his brother, not the fact that he abandoned OP's mother for a whole nother girl and family, but it's the fact this pencil-brained toxic jerk was so stupid and callous, he forgot to change the will. And all that money went to brother's side. Guys, let me know your thoughts down below. I honestly thought OP was going a little easy on this evil stepmother and her 4 evil step-siblings. Guys, let me know what you would have done if you were in OP's shoes. I might have looked for a little bit of revenge on my way out the door. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this saga. It was a good one. It was a long one. It was a roller coaster of emotions. I want to know one question. If you were in OP's position, would you go for revenge? Or would you just call it quits, take the money from the inheritance, and block all contact with this person? Guys, drop your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.